Hello dear students, so here your teacher Raminder Kaur and this video lecture is the last part of our chapter number 5, Morphology of Flowering Plants. As we have already discussed about the different parts of the flowers, fruits, estivation, presentation, now is the time to study the seed. So seeds, they can be of two types as they are monocotyledonous and dicotyledonous plants. So seeds are also divided into two kinds. If we talk about the layering or the covering of the seeds, and it has two layers. One is called as testa and second is called as tegmen. So very much outermost covering of the seed is known as testa. Inner to that is known as tegmen. Simply, if you soak few seeds in water, testa easily removes out within soaked overnight and tegmen remains attached with the seed. If we talk about now the two parts of the seed that will give rise to root and shoot respectively after germination. So radicle is the portion that give rise to root which goes underground, and plumule is the part which will give rise to shoot that is always present above the ground. If we call it as monocot seed, then there will be single cotyledon. But if we call the seed as dicot, then there will be two cotyledons found in the seed. Lower portion, lower cells or tissues that are attached to the radicle known as hypocotyle, and the portion that is attached to the plumule is known as epicotyle in structure. Here, one more term that we need to talk is hilum. Generally, you think of a pea pod from which you take out the pea seeds. So, how you withdraw all the seeds which are attached on the marginal position? The small stem-like structure that is helping in attachment of the seed with the ovary wall, that we call it as placenta. Now, that placenta has an attachment with the ovary wall that is making a scar-like structure known as hilum, and it usually helps in development after germination. Above the hilum, you can see small pore in it. So whenever we soak seeds or whenever we let them to germinate, so water gets absorbed from these small pores and it is called as micropyle. In the figure 5.18, where the structure of dicotyledonous seed is shown, you can simply see that hilum is a C-shaped scar-like structure, and at the base of this a small pore is present that is called as micropyle, which helps in absorption of water during germination of seeds. Then the cotyledons, they are fleshy, they are full of reserve material, because whenever there will be germination, the food is required for the growth of the plant. If we talk about some seeds like castor seeds, you must have heard about castor oil, right? So in these seeds, one special tissue is present which is known as endosperm. If you remember chapter number 3, we have talked about double fertilization in angiosperms. So when one male gamete fuses with the egg, it forms zygote, and the second male gamete fuses with the polar nuclei, that was a central cell, and it forms endosperm. So endosperm is rich in nutrition. So if the seeds have endosperm, then they are called as endospermic seeds. But in some seeds, like you see pea seeds, grams, beans, there is no endosperm found around the seed, so they are known as non-endospermic seeds. So if the question arises in your mind that where that endosperm has gone, so the endosperm, it has been utilized during the growth of the embryo. Now, after studying this dicotyledonous seed, let's talk about monocotyledonous seed. So here example of maize, wheat, rice is very common. So they are endospermic, they have proper endosperm in them. Look upon the figure 5.19. You can see a proper endosperm that is found around the embryo in the first figure as well as in the second figure. But some, like in orchids, there can be some non-endospermic seeds also. Here, TS of maize seed diagram is very important. First of all, the outer covering is seed coat or the fruit wall. Then a special layer, a special covering of endosperm is there which separate the embryo by a proteinaceous layer. That protein rich layer is known as aleuron layer. Then embryo is little small, endosperm is big in structure. In the lower part you can see the embryo. Embryo consists of two parts, radicle and plumule. So radicle will give rise to roots and plumule will give rise to shoot. These are the meristematic regions from which the germination has to be started. So these need to be protected. So who protects radicle? The special structure is known as coleorhiza, and the special structure that protects the plumule is known as coleopatile. So this was about the structure of monocotyledonous seed. Scutellum. If the question comes, what is scutellum? Scutellum is one large shield-shaped cotyledon. Cotyledon is also known as scutellum. So maize seed is divided in two parts. One is endosperm and second is cotyledon. In the cotyledon there are two parts which will give rise to root and shoot respectively. Now let's talk about the last topic of this chapter, how we can give a brief description of any typical flowering plant. We have till now studied all the different kind of terms, languages, sequences, their habits, vegetative characters, inflorescence, presentation, estivation, etc. But how we can see a flower and we can make its structure simply so that all its vegetative and reproductive features must be clear to us. In the figure 5.20, you can see a floral diagram with the floral formula written with it. So, how it will start? As we already know that the flower is consisting of four whorls. The first whorl is known as calyx. So, calyx are the sepals which are green in color and it is represented by capital K. Followed by beautifully colored petals which are known as corolla. They will be represented by capital C. Then coming to male reproductive part of the flower known as androecium. So anthers are represented as a third whorl in the diagram and they are represented as capital A. The last fourth whorl is female reproductive part known as gynoecium. So ovary is represented. It is represented with a alphabet capital G. So now how the floral formula comes out of a floral diagram. If you count number of calyx, you will count them as 1, 2, 3 and 4. But why in the floral formula it is written as K 2 plus 2? 2 plus 2 represents 2 calyx, they are fully outside, and 2 calyx means 2 sepals, they are fully inside. Means here estivation is shown. Number second, in case of corolla, neither any of the petal is inside nor they are outside. All of these are lying in one regular manner. The margins, they are present near to each other. They are not overlapping one another. That's why we can count the corolla as total number as 4. Now comes to anthers. In case of anthers, again it is mentioned 2 plus 4. You can see anthers are arranged in further 2 whorls. 2 anthers in outer whorl, 4 anthers in inner whorl. That's why it is written as 2 plus 4. Then if we look upon ovary, gynoecium, there are 2 ovules that we can see in the ovary. That's why it is mentioned at 2. Then they are put in a bracket. Why they are put in a bracket? Because they are fused. They are not separate entities. They are fused with one another. Then why G is underlined? G is underlined because it represents that it consists of superior ovary, means this flower is hypogynous flower. I hope this is clear. Let's talk about the description in brief. So every plant belongs to different kind of vegetative characteristics. It can be root, stem and leaves, and even the floral characters can vary. Like in this flower there are 4 sepals and petals, in others it can be 3, it can be 5. So depending upon this, the flowers can be trimerous, tetramerous, pentamerous, etc. So floral diagram and floral formula, they are represented by some symbols. First of all, if the bracket is present under the pedicel of the flower, it is called as bracteate and it is represented as capital B small r. But if there is no bracket, then it is written as capital E small b small r, means E bracteate. Capital K stands for calyx, capital C stands for corolla. But if, like in water lily, if the calyx and corolla, they are difficult to distinguish, then we call them as perianth. So it is represented as capital P, androecium with capital A, gynoecium with capital G. And if G is underlined, it means ovary is superior. But if it is on the top, then it is called as inferior ovary. For the male structure, arrow is above the circle and plus is below the circle for female. So this is usually we are coming across. And if the flower is bisexual, means both the male and female parts, they are present in the same flower, then it is termed as bisexual. If the plus sign in the circle, it means actinomorphic symmetry, means radial symmetry. But if a percentage sign is shown, then it means zygomorphic, means bilateral symmetry. So these symbols are very important to write any floral formula. Even in the practical exams, during the viva, any kind of flower will be provided to you and you will be asked to write floral formula for it. So it will be very simple. Once you understand, once you start dissecting the flower, then only starting counting and finding out the arrangement of the sepals, petals, androecium and gynoecium. Right. So a floral diagram, it's giving us a basic information about how many number of parts are there, what are their relations with each other, because sometimes androeciums are attached with petals. So all these whorls, they are playing an important role. In your syllabus, Fabaceae family is deleted for this year only. So you have to learn only 2 families. One is Solanaceae and second one is Liliaceae family. Let's start with the Solanaceae family. First of all, we will talk about which kind of plants are coming under this Solanaceae family. It is generally a potato family. So potatoes, sweet potatoes, these are coming under it. We can look upon other examples as well. So tomato, brinjal, chili, ashwagandha, all these are the major examples of Solanaceae. Widely they are distributed under every kind of temperate conditions. They can be found in tropics. Tropics means where the temperature is high. Temperate zones are those where the temperature is low. Subtropics which have average temperature. So they are widely distributed. First of all, vegetative characters will be discussed, followed by reproductive features. In case of vegetative characters, they can be herbs, they can be shrubs. You have seen tomatoes, so they are generally herbs. Then they can be shrubs also. Small trees can also exist in them. Let's look upon the stem. The stem is herbaceous. If they are herbs, then there it is herbaceous. If they are shrubs, then it can be woody. It is always aerial, right? In the air. Then erect. That means it is vertical in nature. Then cylindrical. Many branches can be found. It can be solid, it can be hollow. So you can see the diagram of Solanum nigrum, so that is makoi plant which belongs to Solanaceae family. Small hairs can be found on them, or it can be shiny. So shiny term is glabrous. And example of potato, which is an underground stem, that is Solanum tuberosum. Now coming to leaves. How leaves are arranged? You can see leaves are arranged alternate to each other. They are very simple leaves. I hope you can recognize them because we have studied all these features previously in the chapter. Leaves can be of two types. One can be simple, other can be compound. Compound leaves can also be of two types, right? So rarely pinnately compound, but usually they are simple leaves. There are no leaflets found. No stipules are there. Stipules are thorn-like structure which are present in the notches of the leaf. So no stipules means they are called as exstipulate. Then their veins are showing a network-like structure, so reticulate venation. So this was about the vegetative features. Now let's talk about the floral characters. First of all, inflorescence, cymose inflorescence. Flowers, they are bisexual. They are showing symmetry of actinomorphic, means radial symmetry. Calyx, how many they are in number? So let's learn like this. If you count in floral formula of Solanaceae family, how many calyx you can count? They are total 5 in number. Are they united? Yes, they are united. So this feature where the sepals are joined to each other, an inverted U-shaped structure or C-shaped structure, it is showing a fusion of the sepals. You can see sepals are also fused, petals are also fused with each other, and even anthers are joined to the petals. That's why a line is showing there. So the floral diagram gives us a very clear picture so that we can write all the floral characters easily. Like on looking upon the floral diagram, I can tell you the basic point. Simply, sepals, first of all, calyx we will talk about. They are 5 in number. They are united. Then it is velvet estivation. Coming to corolla, petals, they are again 5 in number, showing velvet estivation, and they are fused with each other. Then coming to androecium, they are again 5 in number. They are attached to the petals. So in this way, our floral formula as well as floral diagram gives a proper description about the flower. So we have talked about telandroecium. Now let's talk about gynoecium. How many carpels are present in it? There are 2 carpels, so it is known as bicarpellary. As you can see, the ovaries, they are fused, they are not separated from each other. So the condition is known as syncarpous condition. Then ovary is superior, it means hypogynous flower. Bilocular because 2 locules are there. You can see pink shaped structure. How many are they? They are 2. They are separated by placenta, right? So it means if the previous terms in the chapter are clear, then doing these families and their floral formula as well as floral diagram is very easy. Otherwise you will get confused, right? Then placenta is swollen and there are many ovules, and placentation is axile in nature. Which kind of fruits can be found in Solanaceae family? They can be berries or they can be capsules. How many seeds are there? Seeds can be many. And they have endosperm in them. That's why it is called as endospermous seeds. Floral formula is very easy. So plus sign first is representing as actinomorphic symmetry. Second is representing that it is bisexual in nature. Capital K is representing calyx. Then 5 is representing they are total 5 in number. Brackets are representing they all are fused or united. Capital C is representing corolla or petals. 5, their total number. They are put in bracket because they all are fused and united. Capital A is representing androecium. 5 is representing their 5 in number. And the upper curve, which is joining capital C and capital A, means with the joining of the corolla and the androecium, it is showing that anthers are attached with the petals. Then gynoecium, it is underlined because it is superior ovary. 2 is written because there are 2 locules, and it is put in bracket. It is showing it is syncarpous, means they are fused. Economic importance, so examples are important. Now coming to second family, that is the last part of the chapter, that is Liliaceae. So lily family, so it is monocotyledonous in nature. Vegetative characters, if we talk about, they are perennial herbs. So here I have given a little description of annuals, biennials and perennials. Mustard, marigold, wheat, rice, maize, all these are annuals. They are giving us fruit once a year. So whenever we grow them during Kharif season or Rabi season, we cannot grow them continuously again and again. We cannot grow them twice a year. We always grow them once a year. That's why they are known as annual. Now coming to biennials, that can be grown twice a year. Perennials, which can be grown many times a year. That's why this lily is perennial herb. They having underground bulbs or rhizomes, right? You can see onion plant. So it is a bulb that is always found under the ground. Then coming to leaves. So their leaves are mostly basal. Their alternate arrangement. They are linear. They do not have any stipules. And venation is parallel. Why venation is parallel? Because they are monocotyledonous. So once you remember the basic features, then it will be very easier to learn all the other features. Coming to floral characters. Inflorescence is cymose. They are found in clusters. You can see flowers are found in clusters. It is difficult to differentiate that how many flowers they are. So they are found in clusters. And inflorescence is cymose. There is only limited growth of the floral stem. Coming to flower. Flower contain both male and female part. Symmetry is radial, so actinomorphic. Now, in case of Liliaceae, as we have already shown, the basic characters that here sepals and petals, they are not distinct. So that is called as perianth, and perianth is commonly called as tepals. You can see here, do not confuse, do not count them 6 in number. Do not count them 6 in number. These are perianth. How can you differentiate? Because they are of same color. They are shown with the same color. If you look upon the C figure, you can see that these are the perianth. These are not petals because sepals are absent. So once sepals are absent, then petals, we do not call them as petals. We call them as tepals. So these tepals, 3 are fully outside, 3 are fully inside. But they are fused with each other. So that fusion you have to show. 3 inner, 3 outer. Right? So here you can write tepals 3 plus 3. And estivation is volvate estivation. Androecium, again, it is 6, but again 3 plus 3. 3 anthers are attached with outer tepals and 3 are attached with inner tepals. And epipetalous condition. Epipetalous means, epitepalous condition is there because they are attached with tepals. Epipetalous we say when they are attached with petals. Gynoecium. How many locules you can see? 3. 1, 2 and 3. There is a division. Even the ovary is in carpus. Tricarpillary is there. Trilocular condition is there. And exile placentation is there. Fruit is again same, berry or capsule. Endospermous is there. Even you can read out the floral formula. Bracts are there. So bracts are present in the flower at the basal part. So it is written BR. Then actinomorphic symmetry, that's why plus sign in the circle. Then bisexual, here we will not write K and C. Here we will write P. 3 plus 3 and in the bracket because they are fused with each other. Then androecium, 3 plus 3. 3 are attached with outer tepal, 3 are attached with inner tepal. And the upper curve is showing epitepalous condition. Gynoecium. Gynoecium is written 3 in number and then they are fused, so they are put in bracket. So economic importance, you have to learn any 3 or 4 example. So aloe vera, right? Then vegetables such as asparagus, then onion, tulips. These are the economics importance. So this was about the chapter, students. So kindly learn each and everything. Go through all the diagrams. Floral diagrams and floral formulas are very important. Practice for it. Thank you.